Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. In the last episode, we upgraded Goombella, our first partner upgraded the Shine Sprites. We did a whole bunch of ancillary stuff, we bought the Quick Change badge, and we are now ready to proceed through to Chapter 2. So first things first, let's head down into the sewers. So we need to keep pushing down towards the Thousand Year Door, but we're not going to stop quite there yet. And obviously navigating the sewers now becomes a lot easier now that we can turn sideways. And here we go. So you'll remember we saw one of these guys when we came down here before Chapter 1. And yeah, as Professor Franklin described, we've got to chase after those. So now that we can turn sideways through the bars, we'll slip through here and see what we're dealing with. Okay, so we've got him cornered. I always love this line as a sort of emblematic thing of Paper Mario's humour style. Guess again, nerd, we are bullies. No, leave me alone, you big meanies. Oh, sorry, Goombella. Anyway, he trusts us now, so we'll learn a little bit about these guys. And it turns out he knows the X-Nauts and he's afraid of them. So they are obviously going to become a factor in this chapter in a way they weren't in Chapter 1. Okay, so they're in the Great Tree causing trouble, and we are presumably going to have to go and deal with them. And these guys are the Punis, and if we help them out, they will give us the Crystal Star. So they can obviously travel through those little cracks in walls in a way that Mario can't because he's too big, but I'm sure we can manage somehow. Okay, and there we go. So we've got to head through that back wall and off to the right, but if we head to the left, we can head all the way over here and grab this damage dodge badge. This is a very good badge if you are not so great at the super guarding or you're just low on HP. Basically, it reduces it a further 1 damage every time you do a guard when there's an incoming attack. So I'd quite like to equip it, but I think I'm probably going to have to save up for quick change. So it might be something I can't do right now. Although we don't have enough for quick change even if I unequip some of my good badges. So if I unequip multi-bounce, and go for damage dodge and pretty lucky, and until we can get enough to get the quick change badge equipped, that should improve our survivability quite a lot, because we've got now a 10% dodge chance and additional reduction in damage. Okay, so through the pipe. Nothing else in here, I don't think. No star pieces or anything like that, so off we go. Chapter 2. The Great Mowgli Tree. So here we are, the Mowgli Woods, this very heavily stylized location, which unfortunately is full of things that do not mean us much good. Okay, so much like Petal Meadows, we're going to want to push forward and figure out what's happening here. And yes, it's the Shadow Sirens who we encountered in the interstitial cutscene up on the X-Naut base. Yep, so they're waiting to ambush us, and it looks like they found us. Ah, so Vivian's found some sort of necklace. And her sister is bullying her for it. This is the first of several instances of this we'll see throughout the next few chapters. But they've lost the picture of Mario, so we might just be able to sneak past them. So Marilyn recognises us, but looks like Beldam and Vivian are none the wiser. So the dynamic between those three sisters is not particularly healthy. If we whack this tree, we'll get ourselves a sleepy sheep, which I can probably replace one of our horsetails with. Nothing in this one, though. Hello, Vivian. Oh, she's quite upset. The youngest sister of three, and the oldest one really picks on her. And Marilyn is the middle sister, the strong silent type. She's not particularly bright, as it seems. And Beldam is definitely the leader, and probably the one we want to watch out for the most. And here we go, first enemy of the Mowgli Woods. These are the, well, I think they're Piranha Plants, but I think they've got a different name because of the special Mowgli Woods variant. So, first things first, we'll tattle on them. Ah, the Pale Piranha, there we go. Colourless subspecies adapted to Mowgli Woods. HP 4, attack 2, defense 0. And we can't jump on them because they are spiky. But that's no problem, easily hammered. And we got ourselves a cleft here, but they're very easy to super guard. So it shouldn't be a problem even though we can't jump on him. Has defense 2 though, so it's difficult to get through that armor without using Power Smash. Fortunately we got the FP to do that, so that shouldn't be a problem. And there we go. That's pretty much all we're going to encounter for some time in this part of the world. Koops is very good for taking out large groups of these enemies because you can, with 2 power shells, get through the whole row of them. Ah, so we have the first activation of the lucky charm we had equipped in the sewers last episode. So now that we've beaten this, we get additional coins. So we'll see we're now replete with money. I think this drops about, yeah, it looks like it dropped about 20 coins, which is way more than you'd usually get from an enemy. Not probably one of the weaker bonuses you can get from that spell, but nonetheless, I appreciate getting additional cash. And here we go. So we have found the Great Mowgli Tree over there in the background. I expect there's probably going to be more hassle than we're expecting to get in there, but we shall find out. So it's the home of the Punis, the Jabbies, and the Piders. And our first port of call is, well, we could pick up that inn token, although I don't find it very useful. And we'll go over and whack this tree for an additional coin. And it looks like there's nothing else to gather here. So, yeah, we'll head over and explore the tree. So it's quite an impressive object in its own right, with a kind of industrial metal door, which is a little bit out of place. I believe if we explore around here, there's probably some star pieces to be found, given that we haven't managed to get any in this level so far. That's not a star piece, but it is a flower points badge. That's much like the HP up badge. You can equip it to get basically a free extra level in exchange for 3 of your BP. So if you need to respec your character on the fly, it can be quite a good option. But for now, let's just go speak to Punio and see what he has to say. So this door is not a product of the Punis. It's been installed quite recently. It looks like it's probably of X-Naught origin. I'm not quite sure what Punio is up to here. So there's a secret entrance up on this route. But there's an invisible object in the way, and that's something we're going to have to contend with. So there's someone called Madame Flurry whose powers might be able to help us, and she lives quite nearby. So it's not too far from the entrance to the tree, so we'll just switch back over to Goombella in case of new enemies we can tattle, and we'll head over there and see what Flurry is up to. Ah, these woods are the most wonderful in all the world. Yes, indeed. Building a house here was just the finest idea I ever did have. Oh my, yes. This is Flurry's house, very nicely appointed for the 1970s. This place is so different from the bright flashbulbs of the world I'm used to. Such peace. This negative image of the real world soothes my body and soul. What's even better is that I, Madame Flurry, grow ever more lovely here. Plus those squishy, adorable little punies that live in that tree are so nice to me. But I suppose if I stay here too long, I'll begin to crave the hustle and bustle before long. Oh my, it's happening even as I speak. Already I feel the need for drama. That moment of exhilaration when the spotlight shines down on the stage. On me. Surely I was born to be an actress for the ages. So, she's a bit of a diva, we get the impression. And we can just see her in the corner there. Not much of her, though. So, she's going to put on her regular outfit. And unfortunately, something is missing. And I think you might be able to guess what that something is. So straight out of the tree and head right. And there's a little bit more of the woods to get through before we get to Flurry's house. First star piece of the level. Can't quite get to it from here, but we will be getting that shortly. And we've got ourselves a cleft here, which I can't get through its armour, but I can first strike it to prevent it hitting me. This is the reason that upgrading Koops with the Shine Sprites at the end of the last episode would have had some merit, because he's powerful enough to get through the armour of the cleft and deal 1 damage if you power him up. So let's scan the Dark Puff with Tattle. Tiny mean Thundercloud, only 3 HP, can charge herself up with electricity and use a thunder attack on you, so you've got to be a bit careful with that. Power Smash should take down this cleft with 1 hit. There we go. And the falling of that tree ought to deal an extra damage to that puff, which makes this slightly quicker. Oh, so that's annoying, because now he's charged with electricity. I can't hit him with mid-air attacks, so he might have to use some sort of... Yeah, there isn't much we can do with that, frankly. Oh, yes there is. Might as well show off Earth Tremor. This is probably your best all-round damage dealer of the star moves for the entire game. It's basically just playing Parappa the Rapper for a few seconds. So yeah, Mario jumping on this star makes higher and higher waves. Any enemy that's hit with them takes a flat amount of damage. It doesn't matter how many waves they get hit by. It's up to 6. But our 6 HP will do a very good job against most enemies up until the later stages of the game. And it only costs 2 SP. It's a very, very good damage dealer. So good opportunity now. We've got some enemies we can head bonk to show off Grimbella's increased damage. So she now deals 2 damage per hit, allowing us to take out a Dark Puff in 1 round. So if we head all the way to the right on this stage, we can head up these little set of steps and we'll end up in the background. There's a secret box there. If you hit that, you get a P down, D up, P, which basically reduces your partner's attack power by 1 and raises their defense by 1. Honestly, that's probably the least useful of those point swapping badges, because generally you'll want your partners to be quite good damage dealers while Mario takes the brunt of blows, so he tends to have more HP. We get a star piece there, and by hitting that block, we've extended the plane platform here. So as well as the plane, if we switch over to Koops and fling him leftwards here, we can get ourselves the first Shine Sprite of the Mowgli Woods, which sets us on the road to leveling up Koops. So quickly fly over here and hit this badge box, and that gets us the Quake Hammer, which damages all enemies. It's less powerful than a normal hammer blow, but you can deal damage to all enemies on screen. It's basically the hammer equivalent to the multi-bounce. Not having any ranged attack is getting really annoying for dealing with these cloud guys, because they always go for the electricity attack first. Okay, so here we are at Flurry's house, and there's a sort of fence of Mowgli Woods foliage blocking the way, but that's easy enough to get past if we just turn sideways. I think there's some kind of item over here. It's a Volt Shroom, makes us electrified. Not hugely useful, but kind of an interesting cooking item. As we've got several normal mushrooms, I might as well just take it, and might find a use for it at some point. And over here's the pipe, but if we keep going further, I think there's a star piece back here, so that makes 2 for this level. So Flurry is not answering our calls for her attention, which, given that we barged into her house unexpectedly, is perhaps understandable. Ah, so she won't be seen without her clothes on. And of course she won't join the team until we can get her necklace back, and we think we know where it might be. So our first job is going to be to head back to the start of the woods and retrieve that necklace from the Sirens. I suspect it's probably not going to be as easy as just asking them nicely for it. Beldam, I told you, blaming me for losing the sketch, and you had it. Silence, you twit. Now's not the time to get hung up on stupid details. We must study this sketch. Go. Ah, oh dear. There we are. So manly. Check out that bushy moustache. How handsome. You know something though, my lovelies? I swear I've seen this gentleman before. He's Mr. Mustache. So apparently this is all Vivian's fault, as is the way of the abuser. While you're heading back through this room, it's easy enough to drop onto the back row of trees if you want to dodge around the random encounters. You might want to do them for the XP, but I don't frankly feel the need. This is an easy enough game without having to level grind. And here we are back at Shadow Sirens, and this time they know who we are. So, looks like we are in for something of a mini-boss fight. And Vivian thinks they're called the Shadow Beauties. And of course Beldam shuts her down and reminds us that they are the Shadow Sirens and that she is plug ugly, which is, you know, not very nice. Okay, so these guys fight as a trio. Vivian has sort of fire-based attacks, Marilyn has electricity-based attacks, and Beldam has ice-based attacks, but they are fairly similar in most other respects. They don't have any defense points. They've got varying amounts of HP, which we'll find out when we start tattling them, but otherwise they're not individually particularly tough. Might as well start off by hammering Vivian. Sorry, Vivian, you suffer enough. And we managed to knock over that tree, which does 1 damage to all of them, which is very nice. So Vivian's basic attack is just to punch Goombella in the face, which is kind of understandable. She can be a bit of a smug twit. And you'll see that our guard attacks are doing double defense, having equipped the damage dodge badge. So a quick tattle of Vivian. Yep, the youngest of the Shadow Sirens. 10 HP, no defense, 1 attack. Very, very easy. So might as well keep working on her while I get through tackling the rest. Aha! And we get ourselves another effect of the magic charm. This, I think, yeah, will increase our defense for the next turn. So I can just let these attacks hit me now. Oh, only Mario though, not Goombella. And yes, we see Marilyn has boosted her attack, and Beldam can do status attacks on us, rendering Goombella pretty much useless, apart from for tattling, which still works, so we can use her for that, and then use Mario as the damage dealer until we can swap out to Koops. So she's the middle sister, 12 HP, attack 2, and can charge up her attacks. So she's fairly powerful, one to watch out for if you haven't got much health, but we should be able to survive. In fact, I might deploy an Earth Tremor just to get Vivian out of the question, and we can start working on the other two. There we go, full damage for that, so that should be 6 HP to all of them. We should take out Vivian. And Marilyn's nearly down as well. Unfortunately, Marilyn's super-powered lightning attack does 4 damage to both of us, which is not ideal. And if we could avoid getting frozen by Beldam, that would be also wonderful. Managed to do a guard attack against that, which is good. So, no, one more tattle to do on Beldam, and then we'll swap over to Coops. Oldest of the Shadow Sirens, only 9 HP, and her Blizzard attack, can freeze us and does 2 damage, so we want to be a bit careful with that. In fact, you know what, I might as well just take her out now, because she's only got 2 HP left. So she goes down, and as Marilyn's wasting her turn charging, and Goombella is now restored to normal power, we should be able to take her out nice and easy. And that's it, our first encounter with the Shadow Sirens is done. And we get a nice tidy 30 XP, which takes us right up to the next level. So our reward will be another level. I'm going to plough that into badge points so that we can equip Quick Change, which will come in very, very handy, especially when we've got status effects like we did on Goombella in that battle. So the Shadow Sirens are out of the picture for now, and drop the necklace accordingly. So now we've got that, let's take it back to Flurry, and we should be able to make some good progress. Just over to the badge screen here, going to unequip Damage Dodge and Pretty Lucky for now. I will equip them again later probably if I can get more badge points, but Quick Change is just so essential for now. Might unequip Mega Rush, and no, I need Power Bounce and Power Smash, so Mega Rush can come back because Soft Stomp is less useful. So just to show this off in battle, now that we've got the Quick Change badge equipped, I can swap partners as many times within a turn as I like. So swap over to Coops, and we can swap back over to Goombella. And then we can use her to beat up these clouds. Okay, so back to Flurry's house. Just do a quick top up on our stats here. Okay, and now Flurry is happy to emerge. And with a sexy disco ball, we'll get our first introduction to the character that there was no Rule 34 made about ever. It's Miss Flurry. I don't quite know what she's supposed to be. It's not a race of creatures that really appears much in the Mario series otherwise, and I guess she's a cloud creature, so she could be a kind of Lakitu. She's referred to in the literature as a wind spirit, but that doesn't really give us much explanation. So yes, she wants to give Mario a big kiss. I love Punio's spinning eyes in this scene, by the way, and his twitching leg. I think it's a great little bit of animation. So she agrees to join us as our new partner, so we're now up to 3. And she's not all that useful in combat. She basically has an airborne attack, a bit like Mario's jump, only it's a sort of single body slam. But she can be useful in terms of field puzzles, because she can blow wind, as is being demonstrated, and that'll come in useful for removing invisible obstacles, tearing paper off walls, that kind of thing. Okay, so I am going to switch back to Goombella for the time being, because she's much more useful in combat, but Flurry is someone we'll level up in due course. And with her in tow, we should be in a good position to head back to the Great Mowgli Tree. We were interrupted by an email. It turns out that in the pre-GDPR days, we were added to the Rogueport mailing list without our permission. And this basically tells us what's going on in the town, and it's basically a little funny précis of what we've been up to recently in the game. So I'm going to ignore it for now, but it's nice to know it's there if you're playing through at home. Okay, so back to the tree, and if we head up that route where the secret entrance is rumoured to be, equip Flurry, and then use our wind power, we'll see that we remove a flap of paper, and although Punio said it wouldn't be lit up, the secret entrance is in fact duly marked with a big Vegas-style sign. So Flurry tells us a bit of her backstory. She was a world-famous actress, and she got bored of the high life, so came to live in the woods. Understandable instinct, I think. Okay, so Punio has unlocked that front door, so now that now the human-sized characters can get through, and we should be able to get inside and get started on our adventure. So here we are in the Great Mowgli tree. It's weird and watery and has these strange alien artifacts inside. Normally everyone's right here. So the Elder has been hiding. And yes, indeed, we have our first encounter since the prologue with the X-Nauts. These are just two X-Naut soldiers. They're not too tough. But yes, it's not going to be plain sailing getting through this tree. So first things first, quick tattle on them. Classified as an enemy combatant. Low level foot soldiers, max HP 4, attack 3. Relatively high attack, and they can drink potions which will affect their stats, but they're relatively easy to take out, as we'll prove now with a power bounce. Also very easy to super guard, and we should be able to take them out without damage, just with a quick head bonk from the Bella. Not the last of those guys we'll be seeing throughout this level, but we have at least got rid of the first of them. Unfortunately, they've locked the door behind them, so getting through that is going to be a bit of a task in the puzzles to come. Aha, so with this we've found ourselves a second Puni. And a third. In fact, there's quite a few of them. And they're going to be a big part of the chapter to come. So this is Peanut, the fat one, who's distrustful of Mario. And seems to be some kind of rival of Punio. Yep, so everyone, including the Elder and Punio's sister, has been captured, and it's just these guys that remain. So our little tiny army of Punies is going to have to do a bit of heavy lifting for a while. And there's a rival race of creatures called the Jabbies in the tree who we'll have to deal with at some point as well. Okay, so those guys are continuing to hide there for a while, and Puniper is not keen on following us, to say the least. So just quickly top up on stats, and I think we'll leave it there for this episode and get on with exploring the tree next time. I'll level with you. This isn't my favourite chapter of the game. I think because it's an unfamiliar world and race of creatures and so on, it doesn't have some of the spark that some of the later chapters do with the kind of retro nostalgia. And I think the puzzles can be a bit of a slog. There's some slight control issues with them down the line, which I'm sure you'll see next episode. But I think we've made good progress here. We've done all the preliminary stuff for this chapter, so next episode we should be able to finish it off and head through to chapter 3, which is the best chapter in the game, for my money. So until then, I'll leave you there. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Robin. This has been Digital Wilds. If you'd like to help me grow the channel, you can subscribe. And I'm also on Patreon at patreon.com/digitalwilds. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.